better understands these types of situations before reporting on the outcome. In Granada Hills, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Media Training Day took place at the Ed Davis Training Facility in Granada Hills. A family is grieving the loss of their father who was murdered in his workplace. Cindy San Luis explains how the city is helping authorities find the suspect.
I just want justice, that's it, and so please help and not be afraid to call.
Malicio Lopez and his 4 siblings and mother are asking the public for help in finding his father's murderer. Raul Lopez was killed on June 29th at the Hoagies and Wings restaurant in Sherman Oaks, where he worked as a cook.
He was shot following a verbal dispute with numerous patrons inside the restaurant. And we're looking for 5 males of African-American descent driving a black Cadillac Escalade.
Raul Lopez should be here today. He should be holding these children. He should be part of their lives, but it was taken away by someone who we could now prosecute and bring to justice.
The Los Angeles City Council has put up a $50,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the suspect who shot and killed Raul Lopez. The gunman was described as African American and in his late 20s or early 30s, with a skinny build and short hair, about 5 feet 6 inches to 6 feet tall. It's hoped someone out there knows this man.
I don't need to know your name or where you are or who you are. I just need a phone call to point us in the right direction.
Lopez's family members and Hoagies and Wings have set up a memorial fund for the slain father of 5. The restaurant said it will provide donation boxes at the Sherman Oaks and La Cienega Boulevard locations. The restaurant will also be donating 10% of all online orders from the month of July from its Sherman Oaks location to Lopez's family. For LA This Week, I'm Cindy San Luis.
If you have any information that can help authorities, you're urged to call LAPD Van Nuys homicide detectives at 818-374-9500 or 877-LAPD 24/7. And an update on a story we've been reporting on, the city's efforts to stop car dealerships from leaving town. Anita Bennett tells us about a plan city leaders say is good for business and good for the city.
As workers at this new Kia dealership downtown repair cars, Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa joins them to sign a new city ordinance into law.
We're here today to say that downtown Auto Row is back. In fact, the number of dealerships on Auto Row has more than doubled over the last 7 years.
The increase follows a series of steps by LA leaders to lure auto lots away from the suburbs, and that includes the newly signed ordinance that exempts new car dealerships from LA's gross receipts business tax.
For too long, surrounding cities have used LA's broken tax system to lure businesses and jobs away from us. But we're here today to say that stops right here, right now. We're going to compete, and we're going to win.
The new ordinance is also bringing in new jobs.
Kia of Los Angeles has created 75 new jobs and will generate over $600,000 in sales tax revenue to the city of Los Angeles. That's equal to about 1/6 of the total revenue lost by the elimination of the city business tax to the new car dealers.
Over the past 25 years, LA lost 95 dealerships to neighboring cities that have lower business taxes. But by dropping the gross receipts tax, city leaders say they're now on the fast track to bringing those businesses back. I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
City leaders say the money they lose from the gross receipts tax will be offset by the extra sales tax. How does the name Hollywood still capture the imagination of so many? And how does it still attract tourists the world over? The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce thinks it knows why.
It's because Hollywood does it differently. At least that was the theme of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce's 2012 Hollywood Economic Development Summit, held at the Roosevelt Hotel.
There's a lot that we're doing that's differently just because of the nature of this community.
The annual summit, which serves as a progress report for Hollywood, put the spotlight on several new ventures, including new businesses that have moved to Hollywood, as well as new projects and developments that enhance the lives of those who live in the community. One of those projects is the East Cahuenga Alley, which has made such a transformation from a dumpster alley to a pedestrian alley that it's earned itself a nickname, Ica Alley.
Eka Alley, the first alley in Los Angeles that's been renovated and turned out into a public thoroughfare. We're talking about student housing and some of the latest developments in meeting student housing. So there will be a lot of things that we're going to be talking about today that people aren't aware of and that aren't being done in other communities.
But the event's most talked about topic was the Hollywood Community Plan approved by the City Council just days before the summit. Mainly the controversial plan, which serves as a blueprint for planning and development in Hollywood, allows for the construction of skyscrapers where they were prohibited before.
The plan passed unanimously. And while unfortunately it probably will end up in court, and that was an inevitability no matter how many revisions were made, we have a good chance now of seeing a future in which we are ready for growth if it comes.
Many opponents of the plan fear future developments will mean even more traffic congestion for the area, something Garcetti addressed at the summit.
I assured them that we have the same values, which I know in this room that we hold, of increasing green space, of reducing traffic, of bringing good amenities to the neighborhoods that comprise Hollywood, and preserving that history that makes Hollywood so special.
But as the councilman reminded summit attendees, Hollywood is more than the community plan. The ideas of those who live and work in Hollywood are what make Hollywood, Hollywood.
The summit was the Chamber's 18th year holding the event. As for the Hollywood Community Plan, as Councilman Eric Garcetti anticipated, there are in fact several lawsuits that have recently been filed challenging the plan. The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power reaches a milestone in its quest to provide renewable energy. Rasha Goel has more on how Angelenos will be getting more of their electricity from solar power.
This flipping of the ceremonial switch by the LADWP marks the completion of the Adelanto Solar Power Project. It's the largest solar power generating plant developed by any municipal utility in the nation, and it's now delivering renewable energy to Los Angeles.
It will power 3,300 homes with power for their annual consumption.
Located in the Mojave Desert, the 10-megawatt solar farm covers 50 acres of land. The Adelanto Solar Power Project is part of LADWP's power supply transformation, which requires replacing 70% of LADWP's power generation in the next 10 to 15 years. Part of that means transitioning out of coal power. The $48 million solar project was completed by the LADWP's own labor forces.
The success of this project being on time, under budget, in a time when money means so much to our customers is really an outstanding achievement.
LADWP is already on the move with the 8.5 megawatt Pine Tree Solar Project, which is anticipated to start supplying power to Angelenos as early as this November. From Adelanto, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Adelanto Solar Power Project will prevent about 13,000 metric tons of harmful CO2 emissions from being released into the atmosphere each year. That is equivalent to removing 2,500 cars from the road each year. And staying on the topic of cleaning our air, various environmental activists recently staged a rally in support of ending coal use and safeguarding a national park from coal mine expansion. Yana Kay has more.
Holding posters and signs, several environmental groups held a rally at City Hall urging city officials to pass two key environmental resolutions. One resolution would support actions by the Environmental Protection Agency to clean up toxic mercury from coal plants.
This is the first time in U.S. history that the EPA has put out regulations that will regulate carbon pollution as a danger to human health.
Environmental groups also urge city lawmakers to fight the expansion of a coal mine that they say would threaten Utah's tourism and research at Bryce Canyon National Park. They say stopping the expansion would also impact how LA uses energy.
To halt this expansion of the strip mine on public land would be very helpful for the move to get Los Angeles off of coal.
Councilmember Paul Koretz opposes the mine expansion and wants to remove LA's dependence on coal too.
I and other council members are trying to get us to wean ourselves off coal as quickly as possible and stop doing damage to the environment.
The City Council adopted the EPA Clean Air Resolution and postponed the vote on the Bryce Canyon coal expansion to a later time. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
And protecting our environment means also protecting our wildlife. Gil Reyes tells us about endangered butterflies that are thriving today thanks to preservation efforts at the Los Angeles International Airport.
You're looking at the endangered El Segundo blue butterfly. It feeds and lays its eggs on native Seacliff buckwheat, and right now there's a fair amount of the plant on the west side of LA International Airport, on the coastal dunes.
This 200-acre site on the outskirts of LAX is one of 4 main habitats in Southern California where this buckwheat is planted so the butterfly can survive. And since the program began here in 1976, the El Segundo blue butterfly has flourished.
Back in the late 1970s, fewer than 500 of these insects existed here. But last year, their population jumped to about 125,000 butterflies. This year's official count isn't in yet, though it is expected to drop by a small fraction.
Doesn't mean that it's a bad year, it's just more of an average year compared to last year, which was a little wetter, so we had more buckwheat flowers, which yield more butterflies, and this year being a little drier, the buckwheat flowers are less, and so it looks like the butterfly numbers are less.
Entomologists say there's no cause for worry, as LAX spends about $250,000 a year to produce enough buckwheat to save the El Segundo butterfly from extinction. Things with wings, great and small, thriving at the airport. At LAX, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The airport habitat is located along Pershing Drive beneath the LAX flight path. It's open to the public on special occasions only. Well, a garden at a local police station is being made over with the help of some young community members with disabilities. It's a project that's not only transforming the garden, but also lives.
A garden at the Topanga Area Community Police Station, badly in need of tender, loving care, is undergoing a transformation into an eco-friendly garden with the help of a new partnership with the Theodore Payne Foundation, a nonprofit native landscape center in Sun Valley.
Some of you are aware the city is having some issues with financing, and so we've come up with some creative ways to take some things on that typically we don't have to take on.
The Topanga Boosters has helped with fundraising. 1-800-LOAN MART, a local finance company, donated a trailer for the project.
Topanga Station sits on 5 to 6 acres of land, and it's going to take quite the effort to do that.
But those doing the hard work under the sun are student workers from the Los Angeles Unified School District's Miller Career and Transition Center. The center provides job training for mild to moderately disabled students ages 14 to 22.
Every one of these young men and young women that's sitting here has gifts, and they have talents, and it's our goal really to get them out into society so they can give back to society. They're an example to society around us on how much they can do when given the right opportunity.
And this opportunity to green this garden is also helping to grow some new friendships.
City leaders remember the victims of the Colorado theater shooting. Men and women who work what can be a thankless job receive due recognition, and helicopters take center stage at a recent air show. These stories and more in City Beat.
At the first council meeting to convene the week after the movie theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado, LA City Council President Herb Wesson asked a packed house to observe a moment of silence in honor of the victims of the massacre.
So if we could have a moment of silence, everybody bow your head.
24-year-old James Holmes of San Diego is accused of killing a dozen people and injuring over 50 other moviegoers when he allegedly opened fire during a midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises. Councilmember Richard Alarcon recently honored 8 men and women who often go unrecognized despite their contributions to our society. They are local parole agents and probation officers who work with juvenile and adult offenders.
More than 135,400 people are under community supervision in Los Angeles. That's a daunting number and a very daunting task that must be managed by these folks.
Alarcon honored them in council chambers as part of National Probation, Parole, and Community Supervision Week. Council members Tom LaBonge and Eric Garcetti also honored in council chambers the Hollywood Entertainment District and its cleaning crew for helping to clean up the grimier side of Hollywood.
I get up early in the morning and I drive the streets of my district, and when I come through Hollywood, I see your street cleaners, I see your guys who are cleaning graffiti off the walls, and I see Abel working through the hot sun.
Abel Peterson, who only has one leg and who was formerly homeless, is one of the hardworking employees of Clean Street, a street cleaning company hired by the Hollywood Entertainment District. Crew members power wash streets, remove graffiti, and polish the stars on the Walk of Fame. The American Heroes Air Show was held recently at the Hanson Dam Recreation and Sports Complex in Lakeview Terrace. The event honored men and women in uniform and civilian volunteers who operate helicopters in law enforcement, fire service, public safety, and national defense organizations. The air show included a display of high-tech military and civilian helicopters, as well as parachute stunts.
The kids love crawling around in the helicopter and, playing pilot for a day. So that's the funnest thing to see.
The only downside to the event seems to have been the dusty conditions created by the helicopter blades.
The annual summer camp hosted by Council President Herb Wesson gets closer to nature this year, with plans for more kids to be able to attend in the near future. Gil Reyes reports from Camp Wesson.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Greetings from summer camp, and this time there are no bunk beds, no cabins to sleep in. It's just you, a tent, and the great outdoors of the San Fernando Valley.
We are experimenting a new camp experience. We're going to actually sleep out in the wild.
This summer, organizers decided to switch it up a little bit. This year, we're at Hanson Dam Recreation Area, where about 80 inner-city kids are learning how to pitch tents for the very first time. Tents they will live in for 3 days and 2 nights.
All the fun supervised by adults, of course. Camp Wesson, now in its 6th summer season, gives at-risk youth from the Councilman's District a chance to enjoy summer camp for free, while giving their parents in South Adams and surrounding areas a much-needed break from the kids.
We get to do a lot of activities. We get to swim. We get to go hiking. We get to go horseback riding.
Councilman Wesson wants to expand his program to include children from outside his district. His office is pitching this idea to the Department of Recreation and Parks. Volunteers, park rangers, even the CHP are here to make sure children are safe and enjoying themselves.
He's been a big supporter of us, and whenever we can help him out and support him, we'll be there for him.
Councilman Wesson also patrols the campgrounds, promising to kick out any troublemakers if needed.
He says he could take us back home anytime, so I'm not going to be bad.
You guys gonna behave.
Do you like him?
Do you like him?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about it.
He's strict.
Yeah.
And he likes to follow. He likes for us to follow direction and for us to have a good time.
The campers hope to return next summer with possibly more kids from other neighborhoods joining in on the fun. At Camp Wesson, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
In years past, Camp Wesson has taken place at Camp Hollywoodland in Griffith Park. A city-funded program called Project Save Help keeps the program going. A new exhibit at the LA Public Library takes a look at the beginnings of news as entertainment, and it started at least a century ago. Anna Marcos takes a look at the scandal phenomenon.
Where did all those celebrity rags get their taste for scandal? Well, they didn't invent it. A new exhibit called Edited for Publication highlights one of the trailblazers in sensational journalism, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner.
A lot of his papers were known for depicting scandal and sensationalizing the news.
The Los Angeles Herald-Examiner was created in 1962 when newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst merged 2 of his newspapers. But his publications already had a long track record of yellow journalism. Take the 1906 San Francisco earthquake and fire.
It's a scene of the city, and I guess in the smoke-filled sky, people were, they had reported that people saw this cross in the sky. And this is all sort of speculation.
Objectivity and fair reporting, forget about it. These pictures were written on, painted on, changed, sometimes staged entirely, all for the sake of entertainment. And then there's all those photos of suicide jumps, spiced up with arrows to show the fall trajectory, because a plain old picture just wouldn't pop.
By today's standards, these photographs wouldn't
pass the integrity test. You don't want to manipulate the news. You want to report the news as it is.
News as it is? Evidently, this viewer doesn't keep up with the scandal rags or the retouched photos on his favorite magazines. Seriously, is anyone's skin really this flawless? Do kids really take a leisurely hike with a snake around their necks? And it's turn-of-the-century photos like this that started it all. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The exhibit will run through the end of August at the LA Central Library in the History Department. And some other things to do in our city: Shakespeare in the Park, a free evening concert downtown, and a family-friendly event at a local museum.
Head on over to the Skirball Cultural Center, where there are different performers ready to entertain you each Saturday and Sunday from now through September. On Saturday, August 4th at noon and again at 2 p.m., you can see Kataran Chamaru perform songs, chants, and dances from the Pacific Islands Micronesian region in Skirball's beautiful outdoor amphitheater. The Skirball Cultural Center is located at 2701 North Sepulveda Boulevard. No reservations needed for the event, which is included with museum admission. For ticket and event information, go to skirball.org. And if you've always wanted to enjoy Shakespeare in the Park, now's your chance. The Independent Shakespeare Company is performing all summer long at Griffith Park every week from Thursday to Sunday at 7 p.m. as part of the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival. The troupe will be performing A Midsummer Night's Dream on Sunday, August 5th. The performances are at the site of the old zoo at Griffith Park. There is no physical address, but the nearest ranger station is at 4730 Crystal Springs Drive. If you'd like to catch the Comedy of Errors, that ends Saturday, August 4th. For a detailed schedule, go to independentshakespeare.com. The performances are free, but donations are gratefully accepted. And if you like more free outdoor entertainment, California Plaza's Grand Performances series brings to its stage Struns and Farah and Nayaz on Saturday, August 4th from 8 to 10 p.m. The group blends the folk traditions of India and Iran with trance-inducing electronic beats from LA's own Carmen Rizzo. It's Latin America meets the Middle East. California Plaza is located at 350 South Grand Avenue downtown. You can go to grandperformances.org for a list of other upcoming events. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do.
And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We leave you now with more from Camp Wesson. See you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Now is our time to work as one. To create something beautiful. To start again. To ease a burden. To provide hope where there was none. There's so many ways to create the good. What will you do?
Start creating the good by visiting iparticipate.org.
Did you know that more than 80% of false alarms are related to preventable user errors, such as open windows or pets? Any motion can trigger an alarm. Thousands of police patrol hours are wasted investigating alarm reports that turn out to be false alarms. That's crime-fighting time lost. Make sure your alarm is working properly.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth.
offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Sergeants. Sergeants, please call the members. Have them report to the Valley Council chambers. Sergeants, please call the members. we heard from Mr. Weezar and Mr. Koretz. Mr. Zine is here. Sergeants, I need 2 more members. 2 more members. Good morning. Today is August 3rd. I want to welcome everybody to our Van Nuys facility. The Los Angeles City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. except for today. And all the members from the public are welcome. It's good to see you. And we're going to start out today, because we don't have a quorum as of yet, we're going to start out today with a presentation by Mr. Ed Reyes. Mr. Reyes, the floor is yours.
Council President, thank you for that introduction. Colleagues, when we talk about the history of Los Angeles, we always have to pay respects to the immigrant experience. And in El Salvador, there was a tremendous wave of people who came into the Pico Union Westlake area during the mid-'80s. And at that time, we had a civil war in Central America. As a result of that civil war, many folks came into Los Angeles, and I believe for about a 2-3 year period, literally thousands entered the Pico Union Westlake area. Within that wave of individuals, we had leaders who were professionals, teachers, organizers, folks who were, quite frankly, fighting for their lives. And amongst us, and today I have the honor of introducing you to one of the leaders who I consider these are the unsung heroes, folks who worked hard, went through a transition, but never forgot where they came from. So with us we have the Honorable Salvador Gomez Goches, who is the governor of Aguachapan, El Salvador. Please. Joining him is his wife, Mrs. Cristia Asensio Gomez. Also with us, Raul Mariona, Alicia Mariona, Ana Marcela Gomez, Carlos Aldón, Sofia Cortez, another co-founder, Werner Marroquin. It is with great honor and pleasure that I welcome back the Honorable Salvador Gomez Goches to the city of Los Angeles. More than 3 decades ago, Mr. Gomez Goches arrived in Los Angeles with only $3 in his pocket. But his mind was full of ideas, his heart full of dreams. He worked his way up from a parking lot attendant to being one of LA's most respected community leaders. As an organizer, he worked to protect and expand the rights of students, teachers, immigrants, and workers. He never forgot the importance of culture and history, especially the history and culture of his beloved El Salvador. In 1999, Goches and several others with the same vision founded El Día del Salvadoreño and the Baja del Divino Salvador del Mundo, a tradition that dates back to the colonial days. Every August, thousands of people gather in the streets of San Salvador to celebrate Las Fiestas Agostinas and La Bajada, the transfiguration of the divine Savior of the world, El Salvador's patron. This annual tradition marks the founding of El Salvador in 1525 and serves as a powerful symbol of Salvadoran identity and civic pride. Today, El Día del Salvadoreño celebrates that identity and cultural significance in the Salvadorian American community in Los Angeles, especially in the First Council District. Today, colleagues, the Salvadoran community has expanded throughout the region. There's a strong presence in Council District 13, a strong presence in Council District 10, and we see this amazing maturation of organizations in different realms of the community. We see it in the clínicas, we see it in education, we see it in government, we see it in the community civic participation as they organize, not only Salvadoreños, but many of the Central American communities that are today struggling. So with that, I want to thank Governor Salvador Gomez Goches, and I'd like to just state to you what the certificate of recognition states. It says, in recognition of being elected as the captain of the day of the Salvadorian Celebration 2012, in honor of your dedication and commitment as founder of this event, which highlights the culture and pride of the Salvadorian community in the city of Los Angeles. Felicidades. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Mr. Reyes, before the governor addresses the council, Governor, I too want to welcome you to the greatest city in the world and say that I'm proud to represent a large contingent of Salvadorians and that we work together in brothership, and we've accomplished some good things, and we look forward to accomplishing great things in the future. With that said, Mr. Reyes, Mr. Garcetti would like to address the governor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just briefly, bienvenidos, Gobernador. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I wanted to also rise because your timing is perfect. 2 days ago, Mr. Reyes led the long struggle to establish a corredor salvadoreño in la ciudad de Los Angeles, the Salvadorian corridor. And that really was the product. I wanted to say a few words, both to welcome you and to congratulate Mr. Reyes because he couldn't be here. He was in Sacramento lobbying for us. But thank you for your leadership in making that happen. Mr. Parks, who has now part of it, was great to stand up and support as well. But the friendship that we have, that Mr. Reyes, myself, have forged between the two nations of the United States and El Salvador. Los Angeles is the second greatest Salvadorian city in the world, and we know this is a great Salvadorian country as well, and we look at ourselves with a lot of pride at what you have accomplished, and to have somebody who came from El Salvador, came to here, and has gone back and established himself as a political force. Felicidades, and gracias por venir. Congratulations, and thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, when someone comes to Los Angeles and leaves, they come back looking younger. Well,
then you and I need to take a trip, Mr. Laban.
That's right. This is our map of our sister cities, 25 throughout the world. Proud to say El Salvador has our sister city. Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Reyes' leadership, welcome back, people to people, all the way. Say hello to everybody in Lake Santa Ana. I had a good swim in Lake Santa Ana. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Governor, welcome, and please address the council.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to let you know that I was living in the District 10 during 30 years here in Los Angeles. In the late 70s, when we were under persecution in El Salvador, I had to take a decision, and my decision was to come here to the United States. But I don't even know what is going to happen here. And like the council member Reyes said, that I was with $3 in my pockets and a lot of dreams here. I want to say thank you to the city of Los Angeles to give me a warm welcome here and learn from you guys all the experience that you give me, Mr. Eric Garcetti, Mr. Tom LaBonge. There are some other people that I didn't see here. Like when I come here, I found Mike Hernandez, Nick Pacheco, a lot of people that I knew here. But I learned from you how to work to help the people, to be honest with the people, and work with transparency. And after 30 years of community working here, now in the new change in El Salvador, the new government requests me to go back to my hometown to become a governor in the department of Aguachapán. There is an estate over there. There is only 14 estates in El Salvador, and I am one of the 14 governors. I represent with a lot of honors to you guys, my people here in Los Angeles there, and I represent now the people in El Salvador here in the city of Los Angeles and the United States worldwide. I really thanks for this recognition, but I want to recognize that the team working was very important to create El Día del Salvadoreño. It was a group of dreamers, including Werner Marroquín here present, that we dream and bring El Día del Salvadoreño to 4 different levels. The city of Los Angeles recognized it in a proclamation in the 2000. The county of Los Angeles in 2001, the state of California in 2003, and finally, the Congress recognized El Día del Salvadoreño, el 6th of August as El Día del Salvadoreño in 2006. In that moment, we feel that we start to live with dignity here in the United States, and we appreciate all your effort and your example to become good citizens here in this country. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Let's give the governor a round of applause. With that said, again, Governor, you're welcome to come back and visit the 10th District any time that you'd like. Madam Clerk, I could be wrong, but I believe we have a quorum. So if you would please call the roll.
Alarcon, Buscaino, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Crest, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zine, Weston. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Parks moves, Mr. Zine seconds. Next.
Communitary resolutions for approval.
Mr. Weezer moves, Mr. Alarcon seconds. Next.
Items 1 and 2 are public convenience or necessity items in Council Districts 3 and 14. A motion is required for item number 2.
Okay, do we have a motion on number 2? Mr.
Even file that item, please.
Can we do that, Madam Clerk? Just receive it, or Mr. City Attorney? Or should we take some action on it, or have a motion to receive and file, or what?
Mr. City Attorney, I was informed that it was a mistake to have this go through a city hearing, that when it's in a census, the same census tract, and it's a transfer, that it's an ABC issue, and I was told it was a mistake to be put on a hearing. We could continue it to clarify that, or receive and file, whatever you wish.
I'm not sure what the clerk's input was on whether to receive and file it. Receiving and filing is an option, or you could continue it.
Then he requested it received and filed, so without objection. Do we have any cards on item 1?
No cards.
Okay, so let's prepare to vote. Item 1. Dennis, you want to hold that?
Special. Call it special, please.
Okay. Zine holds. So that now should move us to items 3 through 8, is it?
Mm-hmm. Items 3 through 8 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay. Specials members 3 through 8? Specials? Okay. Madam Clerk, let's prepare to vote. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That moves us where?
Items 9 through 18 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Without objection, those items are before us. Mr. Englander.
10 and 11 special, please.
Mr. Englander, 10 and 11. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask that item number 16 be continued until August 31st.
Okay, at Mr. Krikorian's request, item 16 will be continued. And Madam Clerk, did you get the date?
Yes, August 31st.
Okay, any other specials? Seeing none, let's prepare to vote. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
So that brings us back to presentations, correct?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Zine, would you please take the podium?
Special celebration we have today. St. Bernardine Siena 50th anniversary, 50 years in the Woodland Hills area serving the Catholic community. And what's interesting about St. Bernardine, which is the parish I attend and also as a Eucharistic minister there, it's next to Temple Aliyah, a Jewish temple. And on occasion you'll see Monsignor at the temple on a Friday night, and you'll see the rabbi at the Catholic Church on the Sunday at the sermon. And there's a great community that's been established between St. Bernardine and Temple Aliyah. Oh, he wants you closer for pictures. So we should be celebrating your birthday. How old are you today, Monsignor? This is incredible. 90 what? 98. 98. 98 years old. Born on September 11th. Celebrate 7 a.m. Mass while you're sleeping. That's right. And it's just a real pleasure being a member of the congregation to bring them today before you on the 50th anniversary. The 50th anniversary of St. Bernard. They have a celebration this weekend. So we want to recognize them for the 50 years of outstanding dedication to the community of the San Fernando Valley, in particular, Woodland Hills. Ministers and members are not only my constituents, but my friends. As Eucharistic Minister for St. Bernardine, I'm proud to acknowledge them before this distinguished body this morning. So we're going to honor St. Bernardine for 50 years of keeping that community whole, involving the community in many, many activities. At St. Bernardine works diligently to foster a spirit of growth to the parishioners of the congregation through the leadership of Monsignor McNamara, who also has a brother who is here from Ireland visiting, who comes out every year, Father Leslie McNamara, who is another Catholic priest, two priests in the same family, which is interesting. They have this thriving community in the Woodland Hills area. For 50 years, the church has brought members of a community together under the same roof to come together as a unified body. And today, we celebrate and we acknowledge the 50 years of St. Bernardine of Siena. And I want to read what we prepared on this recognition. 1962, James Francis Cardinal McIntyre moved to activate the parish to accommodate the growing population in West San Fernando Valley. You can imagine how it was in 1962 in the far West San Fernando Valley, a lot of farmland at that time. Father Murray also diligently to foster a spirit of growth to the parishioners who flocked to the congregation. In 64, a rectory, school, and temporary parish building was completed to provide a house for worship for the hundreds that came to the services, and they didn't have a lot of churches out there at that time. So in 66, Cardinal McIntyre came to St. Bernardine's to formally dedicate the parish to the glory of God and the memory of St. Bernardine of Siena. So in 1968, the parish rectory was finished, and it sits on Calvert Street. By the way, we paved that street for you, didn't we? Yes. Okay. You don't have to ask too many times if you're a priest to get things done in the community. St. Bernardine's community worshiped together and played together as the children grew and the members increased. In 1983, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles recognized the dedication of Father Murray, elevated to the rank of Prelate of Honor, the title of Monsignor. Monsignor Dotson then came in after that, second pastor, and after 2 years in 1991, long-range planning, the parish launched an ambitious parish development program, culminating in the opening of their present parish center, the church bell tower, the vestibule additions. And in 1999, the church built a new church facility designed to have all the parishioners in attendance at a mass as close to the altar as possible. And I remember during that transition, there was a tent. They celebrated in a tent, and that was a long period of time while they built the new church. In 2000, the new church was dedicated. Cardinal Roger Mahoney accommodates thousands of worshipers each Sunday. And in 2001, Father McNamara was named the third pastor of the parish and has placed a great leader. He is a great leader, inspired others to continue the tradition of St. Bernardine's mission to assist those in need in our society. So today, the city family, the mayor, the council, our city attorney, our controller, all recognize St. Bernardine of Siena for all the wonderful work they do in the city of Los Angeles, in the Woodland Hills area, the San Fernando Valley. And you have a great celebration coming up this weekend, so we want to mention that. But I'm going to give 2 Monsignors and a priest, and I've got some other representatives with me of the community. Let me mention them briefly so we'll know everyone's here. Dorothy Kramer, Dorothy. And then we have Barry Scher, Barry, also a member of the parish. And you met the other one. So who wants to take it away? Okay. And then we'll hear from you.
No, to him.
No, to him.
It's my pleasure to thank the entire City Council. I just want to let you council members know, though, that we do have a favourite among you, Dennis Sion. I would also like to add that in St. Bernardine's we very often pray for our civic leaders. And from now on, we will particularly keep in mind Los Angeles City Council and ask God to guide you in the difficult challenges you have, and to thank you for all you've done, in particular for us at St. Bernardine's. God bless you all.
Oh, come on, say something.
I endorse what the pastor said. You've done a great job, and I started the parish in '62. You were very helpful for me, and I appreciate it, and I thank you.
Thank you. And you know, I love your accent, Father. Will you say a couple words? Direct from Ireland.
I'm not quite direct from Ireland.
I thought that's where you were at.
I had for 38 years I worked there, but I worked in China for the last 6.5 years, and I'm still there, and I'm going back again.
To China?
But I really enjoy all of the activity in St. Bernardines, so I keep coming back to be rejuvenated. Yeah. So thanks to the council for inviting us along here today too, and we're very grateful and appreciative.
Thank you. Go ahead, say a couple comments. Don't be shy. You're on television. Thousands of people watching around the globe.
I'd just like to thank the council for recognizing St. Bernardines. It's a great church community. We appreciate everything the council does for us, and God bless you.
Come on, your turn. Don't be shy.
Secretary at St. Bernardines for many years, and it's been a wonderful opportunity and a great parish, and I thank you for recognition.
Mr. Zion, this is recognition from other members of council. Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations to you all. And I want to just thank you for your service to the community and for providing a place of worship for the Catholic faith. We are very proud as a council to welcome all religions and all faiths and support them in whatever they do in this great country that we have. But I just wanted to stand up and tell Father that Councilmember Zion is our favorite as well, too.
Mr. Weezar, and as the fathers may know, 231 years ago, 44 people walked 9 miles from the Mission San Gabriel to the banks of the river, now named the Los Angeles River, to form the Pueblo Los Angeles, which is so special in the history for the missions in California. And as you said, Mr. Weezar, we welcome all faiths. And also, just to give a shout out to Ireland, William Mulholland, the great immigrant, and all immigrants bring greatness, will celebrate his centennial of the aqueduct and all the work that he did. And finally, the council has unanimously passed Mr. Zion to be excused for 1 hour for confession, if he would like, for all of his sins. God bless St. Bernardines and all the work that
so
you
they
do.
need 3 priests to hear my confession. That's
Sure
good.
do.
Thank
That's
you.
good. God bless St. Bernardines. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you very much. Councilman of the 7th District, Richard Alarcon, for a very special presentation.
Well, council members, I am very pleased to bring this very colorful group forward. Today, it is my pleasure to honor an outstanding professional dance group, Ballet Folklorico Olin, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. This is a Valley-based organization that has promoted culture and the arts for 40 years. Olin was founded in 1972 and has excelled in promoting the dance, music, art, and cultural tradition of Mexico and California through professional entertainment programs, education, and research. I remember when you never saw a mariachi group or a ballet folklorico in any of the schools in the San Fernando Valley. And today, almost every single school has either a folklorico group or a mariachi group or several mariachi groups. So things have changed, and largely because of the work of Ballet Folklorico Olin. The company is made up of 3 generations of trained dancers who range from the ages of 5 to 95, competing with the priest over there. These talented dancers reflect Los Angeles' U.S.-born Mexican art community, and they each share a love for their history and their family's traditions. The group was originally started by a group of local high school students looking for something fun to do after school, but they soon brought in an advisor, Virginia Dideker, to serve as the organization's first director. Virginia and her co-director, Javier Francisco Verdin, have run Ballet Folklorico for 40 years and have seen the dance company perform at prestigious and culturally significant events throughout Southern California and beyond. Olin has performed at many state and county fairs, local schools, church fairs, and community events, as well as the 91st Annual Tournament of Roses Parade, the 2000 Democratic National Convention in Los Angeles, the 1984 Olympic Arts Festival, the Arte de Mexico Festival at Los Angeles County Museum of Art, numerous Cinco de Mayo events and Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations throughout the county. And for the past 10 years, Olin captured the holiday spirit at Orange County Center for the Performing Arts, where they perform Fiesta Navidad with Grammy Award-winning mariachi Los Camperos de Naticano. Olin has shared the stage with legends such as Mariachi Vargas de Tecatlilan. Oh, my Nahuatl is hanging in there. Mariachi Monumental, Lola Beltran, Ana Gabriel, Jose Feliciano, Vicky Carr, and Linda Ronstadt. In addition to Olin's core group of dancers who perform throughout the year, the members also teach, mentor, and support such community groups as Mariachi Master Apprentice Program, La Voz del Mariachi, and Musical Senior Citizens Group in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. For 40 years, Ballet Folklorico Olin has helped protect and continually create the culture of the Northeast San Fernando Valley. I am very proud to celebrate the dance company's 40 years of inspiring and dedicated work in the community. And joining me here this morning is Ballet Folklorico's founder and director, Virginia Dideker, and the company's co-director, Javier Francisco Verdin. So at this time, it's my pleasure to present first a certificate to Virginia for her tremendous leadership. Her responsibilities include complete artistic production, control of choreography, music coordination, and costume design. Throughout her career, Virginia has encouraged the development of new folklorico dance groups throughout Los Angeles Unified School District, as I mentioned, largely resulting in almost every school, at least in my district, having dance groups. As an instructor for the Los Angeles Mission College, Virginia created a curriculum of instruction designed to develop an awareness of Mexico's cultural diversity through music and dance, with an emphasis on the art of performance. Please join me in thanking Virginia for her commitment to Ballet Folklorico Olin and the Northeast San Fernando Valley community.
Thank you very much. I have known our council member for over 20 years, probably. Lots of years, and he's always been very supportive of our mission and very supportive of the arts and the tradition. And as tradition bearers, we've been at this for quite a long time. I do have some exciting news I'd like to share with you. We have a wonderful program coming up on August 10th at the Ford Amphitheater. And I'll have Javier give you a little touch on that. But I just returned from Washington, D.C., and the Mariachi Master Apprentice Program, which is a wonderful teaching program that was put together with Heritage Fellow Mr. Naticano from Mariachi Los Camperos de Naticano, and myself, and returning from Washington, D.C., we are a finalist with the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities. So we have been chosen as one of the finalists. So exciting news coming up. Thank you.
I'd also like to ask Javier Francisco Verdin to step forward. These two are partners in so many ways and have really been the heart and soul of this movement. He has been the co-director for the acclaimed Ballet Folklorico Olin for more than 30 years. He has been instrumental in developing an educational program directed toward community youth that stimulates cultural pride and appreciation of Hispanic heritage. Javier assists many of the cultural and recreation events in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and can often be found volunteering to help with set construction, audio services, bilingual translations, or once you hear him speak, you'll understand why he is usually the master of ceremonies. Javier, let me present this to you and ask you for your comment.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Council of Los Angeles, thank you for this opportunity to address you. And Councilman Alarcón, muchas gracias. Thank you for this recognition. It's been 40 years of great pride in bringing the culture of Mexico to California. And after 40 years, we truly believe that this is not Mexico's folklore only. This is California's folklore. And we truly believe that because of all of these years and all of the things that you had mentioned earlier about spreading the culture throughout the schools and districts, we feel really proud not only to have spread the culture, but also create a market. Because I'm sorry to say it, but there was no market back then in Olvera Street for any of us. We could not find a hat. We cannot find a guayabera. We cannot find a shoes to dance with. So eventually, with the years, we created a market. There were so many different groups that needed stuff that we started asking the merchants to bring this and to bring that and to be able to help us with music. So I truly believe that this has become a California folklore as well. I would like to say thank you to the dancers behind us, which some of them have been dancing since they were 8 years old. Now they're about 35 or a little bit older, but they have a commitment. And some of them have married, they have come back. Now their kids are dancing. And some people that we have there, they've been dancing for 32 years as well. So the commitment is there. And I think that Ballet Folklorico Olin is a strong organization that is being led by Virginia Diedeker with a passion. And even though Virginia Diedeker it doesn't have a Mexican last name, Diedeker, she has carried the torch of the Mexican folklore and the dignity and the respect for the Mexican culture and its people. So I'd like to say thank you, Virginia, on all of the dancers' behalf. And once again, thank you. One last thing, I would just like to mention that we are celebrating the 40th year anniversary of Ballet Folklorico Olin on August the 10th at the Janelson Ford Amphitheater. We'd like to invite all of the council and everybody here to come and join us in this big celebration, because we consider ourselves to be one of the oldest dance companies here in Southern California. So thank you very much, and have a good day.
Javier, there's one aspect that I don't think, well, I sort of touched on it, but I want to speak more specifically to it. As a teacher, I recall when Latino students in the San Fernando Valley were not participating in the more American traditional forms of arts, whether it be performing arts, the choir, the band. And I can tell you that one of the greatest transitions that I've observed as a city council member was to watch the Latino students participate in performing arts like never before. And I reiterate, because I've said this many times before this council, that there's a direct correlation between performing arts and math and science learning. And so, as we see the numbers of students who are going on to study math and science programs in the universities, as we see them passing the AP programs in greater numbers than ever, we owe a little debt of gratitude to Ballet Folklorico Olin, because I think that inspiring those kids to stick with their artistic program, they have also stuck with their math and science programs and are doing better than ever. So thank you so much for believing in education. So finally, I'd like to thank Virginia, Javier, the entire Ballet Folklorico Olin. If you want to see a very professional Ballet Folklorico, there are none that match Olin's performances here in the Southern California area. And so with that, I want to congratulate them. I do have a certificate for the entire group. And if you have a chance to go on the 10th of August to the Ford Amphitheater, you will see a show that you will truly enjoy. So thank you all very much.
All right, let's give them a round of applause. Mr. Koretz for the final presentation of the day.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm happy to be joined by Captain Egan, our commander in the West Valley LAPD, to discuss National Night Out, which will be coming up next week. I'm a big believer in involving the community and promoting public safety, which is why I'm so delighted that on Tuesday, August 7th, we'll again be enjoying the National Night Out festivities sponsored by the National Association of Town Watch. National Night Out events strengthen neighborhood spirit and police-community partnerships while generating support for and participation in local anti-crime programs. The events are free and open to the public. This year there will be National Night Out events in over 15,000 communities across the United States, including Encino, which I'm proud to represent. I know I'll have a great time at National Night Out in Encino and hope to see you there. I believe this is the main Valley event around National Night Out. It'll be taking place between 6 and 8 p.m. that night at Encino Park at 16953 Ventura Boulevard. And joining me as event co-presenters are the LAPD West Valley. More than 37 million people participated in National Night Out last year, which is a staggering number. But what's key is that at each National Night Out event, in addition to being great fun, it also gives people the tools to prevent crime, including learning what we should do when we come across something suspicious, what we can do, what we should do, and whom to contact. And of course, National Night Out is also the perfect opportunity to thank our local police officers who are our public safety heroes. So if you can, please come by and say hi. I also want to publicly acknowledge and thank Captain Egan, our Encino Senior Lead Officer, Rob Trulick, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, and the entire West Valley LAPD team for the terrific job they do keeping us safe. So again, the Valley event will be taking place between 6 and 8 p.m. Tuesday at Encino Park. And I'd like to have Captain Egan say a few words also about National Night Out.
Mr. Koretz, before the captain speaks, you have a couple of colleagues that'd like to say a few words. If I could turn it over to Council Member Englander at this time.
Yes, thank you. And I wanted to thank you for bringing this to the public as well. We have two actually in our district, and I wanted to thank you as well, Captain. This is a terrific event. We've added some enhancements this year to ours as well. We're doing movies in the park and the same evening as we have continued that tradition throughout the summer. So our two will be at Shadow Ranch Park and another one at Northridge Park. And so we encourage everybody to come out and participate. We'll stop by and crash yours as well. And eat your food and then come back to ours, right? But thanks for doing this and partnering with the LAPD. I know we all have these throughout the city, throughout the San Fernando Valley. We get thousands of people to turn out, and it's a great opportunity to enjoy a great evening with your community as well as your LAPD officers. So thank you, Mr. Koretz, for bringing this up. Appreciate it.
Mr. Laban.
Well, there'll be National Night Out, but every night should be National Night Out. But this is when we highlight, especially the men and women, plus the civilians of Los Angeles Police Department. Captain Egan, good to see you. There'll be spots throughout the San Fernando Valley at all of our stations. So I really want to thank, and I got to give a shout out to Van Nuys Division in the back who are here on another item. So we get Van Nuys covered, we get West Valley covered, we get Devonshire covered, and the whole Valley, Mission and Foothill, as well as North Hollywood. So thank you very much. Topanga, I forgot Topanga. How could I forget Topanga? It was my favorite beach when I was a kid.
Mr. Labange, you forgot the rest of the city.
Oh, and I wanted you to finish. It was a pitch to you.
Captain, congratulations. Please come forward. It's your time now.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilmember Koretz and members of the council for inviting me here today to talk about what is arguably the most important event for police and community partnership in the nation and certainly here in the city of Los Angeles. There are events throughout the city in each of the 21 geographic areas, and I encourage folks that are out there, if they're unaware of where those events will be located or hosted, that they can go on the LAPD's website. That's www.lapdonline.org and put in National Night Out, and they'll be able to get a list. That list is currently 14 pages long, so it's too lengthy for me to be able to give each and every one of you those names. But it's good to know that I have the support, that we have the support of the council members and the community This is a great opportunity for us to come together and deal with crime issues and also talk about how we can work better in delivering service to the communities in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you for all that you do. Okay, that concludes our presentation portion. So, Madam Clerk and Mr. City Attorney, what I intend on doing today is I'm going to do some public comment, then we'll go do an item, and then we'll do the rest of the public comment. Mr. Zine, I see you standing out of the corner of my eye. Did you?
Which number one? We can do number one right now.
You want to do number one right now? Okay, then let me call up Michael Carrion. Michael, we're going to do item one right now, and then we'll go into general public comment. Michael Carrion.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is.
Morning, Michael.
Alcohol. Here we go again. You guys want to ban marijuana, yet you're going to give another liquor license out. I thought Ed Reyes only gave liquor license out. You want another liquor store. Why? Don't you people understand that alcohol kills more people than marijuana? Yet I see not one council member paying attention. Well, thank you. Mr. Zine is paying attention. As a police officer, I'm sure he drove up on a lot of accidents by drunk drivers. Yet, this city council keeps handing out liquor licenses like if it was candy. Every 7-Eleven has to have liquor. Every large corporation that opens up a store here has to have a liquor license. Mr. Reyes tried to open a restaurant near a school that had a bar, near a elementary school, a high school, a church. Boy, he broke all the rules on that one. But I guess it's the payoff. Who's getting paid and how much does it cost these large corporations to buy a city council member? Vote on a liquor license. You guys shouldn't even vote on this. You should just take the money and put it back in the community. Because the people in the community are the ones that get hurt when these drunk drivers turn around and hit somebody and kill somebody. But you don't do anything about it. You turn around and continue to hand out liquor licenses by every pusher that wants one. Just because they have a name of like Ralph's, 7-Eleven, or these large corporations, you figure it's fine to give them a liquor license. It's about time you guys take your job seriously and stop giving liquor licenses out.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Zine.
Thank you. I listened to Mr. Carrion, and having worked at LAPD for now 43 years, I'm very sensitive to drinking and driving. And if you read the agenda item number 1, continued consideration of hearing comments. Now, if I had the clerk, could you please read the determine? Can you read that part, please, into the record?
Recommendation number 1, determine that the public convenience or necessity will not be served by the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-site consumption at Walgreens Neighborhood Pharmacy located at 18430 Sherman Way, Reseda, 91335, inasmuch as the site is located in a high crime reporting district.
And number 2.
Deny the application for determination of public convenience or necessity for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-site consumption at 18430 Sherman Way based upon the above finding and the negative influence associated with the sale of alcohol in the concerned community.
And that request that we deny this application. On information from Alcohol Beverage Control states there's an overconcentration of both on and off-site in that particular location in that tract, and also that there are some serious crime problems in that particular area, and that violent crime is up 175%, and that other crimes, property crimes, are up. Those are burglaries, grand theft auto, aggravated assault, robbery, and homicide. So I'd ask that this body deny this application to have alcohol sold at this particular location on Sherman Way. So the request is for denial, not for approval, for denial. Thank you.
So, Madam Clerk, just so it's clear, are we voting we're voting yes where it relates to Mr. Zine's request.
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, so members, there are no other speakers in the queue, so let us prepare to vote. Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Zine. Forthwith. Okay. Mr. Herbert, we're going to start general public comment. Herbert Thompson, Candido Merez, Donna Pearman. Please come forward. Mr. Thompson.
Good morning, Mr. President, LA City Board. I'd just like to elaborate this morning on the crime here in Van Nuys, and also elaborate on Pacoima Community Youth Cultural Center, where we're located and what we're doing in the community. Mr. President, just listen to Dennis Zine about his record on crime. One of our fights is helping crime victims after the fact. I'm seeking for support. This is not only a local issue, it's a worldwide issue. And come September the 15th at the Pacoima Community Center, we will be launching a big Stop the Bullying campaign, which we would like support. If I can get a letter of support from the board, if anyone would like to come out and participate and come out and help, be highly appreciated. But I just want to let you know that our Victims' Rights Sisters program is off the ground. We're doing an excellent job. I got people from Texas all the way to San Diego that's giving support and funding and in a letter of support. So I'm asking the board if they can also consider working with me to come up with a plan or program that could be more of a tool that the community can use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you again. And maybe you should speak with a rep from the council office. Candido, come on up. Good to see you. Donna Pearman, followed by Marion Fogler.
Good morning, Mr. President. Candido Maris, proud resident of the 12th District and proud to be represented by Mitch Englander. I'm also proud, Mr. Wesson, that you've pronounced me a constituent of the city of Los Angeles, and I thank you for that. Roland Guevara with me for the Knights of Columbus. I'm here today because, you know, it's been a wonderful week watching the Olympics and watching all of these young men and women achieve their goals and dreams. And that should happen to happening for every child in our city, but it doesn't. A lot of things happen to kids that we don't find out until it's late in life, and people want to throw them aside and cast them aside and call them gang members and nothing, that they're worthless. But there's so many kids that are locked up that are worth saving, Mr. President, council members. And I think that's why it angers me that when I saw that there was 2 police officers who took the time to set up their own program to help young men and women as young as 6 to try to achieve a goal, to try to go to the Olympics and receive a gold medal or a medal like Mr. Guevara has in his games, the senior games. But to call these 2 officers and to challenge what they're doing, for me and the experience that I've gone through, and nobody knows what can happen to a child better than I know exactly what can happen to a child. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, it can happen to every child. And so to those 2 police officers, I want to thank you. And I want to thank the officers from the Jeopardy program and the PALS program and all the other programs where the police officers, men and women, take the time to really work with our children. And maybe one day we'll be able to these children will be able to reach their goals. And it was funny because somebody from the LA Unified said that he watched the video and he thought it was psychologically damaging. You know what's damaging? When you take one of those children and you put them in a 6x9 cell for the rest of their lives. If I was to take you to the penal system and to the penitentiaries, and you would see some of these young men and women with the talents that they have, the things that they could achieve, the things they could have achieved.
Thank you. Thank you. And, you know, Candido, I think you were right to highlight the Olympics. You know, young athletes from all over the world. Our USA team in particular has been very impressive. And when you hear some of the backstories about some of our athletes, the young lady who won our country's first medal in judo, she was abused. Thought about suicide. She could have easily had a terrible life, but she got help. She fought back, and she's got a medal that we haven't been able to get in 30 Olympics. So it's really good that you highlight that. Anything is possible. So I think that was very appropriate. Donna Pearman, Marion Fogler, Sharon Brewer.
Okay. You just we just began to fight. I barely woke up. Van Nuys City Hall is closing Van Nuys City Hall and going downtown is not reasonable accommodation for disabled of many different kinds, physical, emotional, and many illnesses that are just as disabling. We're going to have Van Nuys City Hall reopened. We will see, but we have forms for ADA disability rights, which Marion will speak more on. And but if you fill it out, you have to fill in the black ink only. We want to be reopened. Many more. We want to have it reopened with many more using it. I want to speak to those who are being presented. Van Nuys City Hall could be for you. You should think of this as a place for you to speak your concerns, place to see how you feel about the agenda items. Come to me and Miriam. We will reopen it, and especially those who are disabled and those with illnesses. The Valley almost succeeded. We need to wake up and tell them the Valley not to be forgotten as a stepchild. Come to Miriam and I. We'll have Van Nuys City Hall reopened. Especially have the passion for the disabled people. The buses run sporadically. It's getting worse. They don't coordinate. I have to leave at 5 a.m. to get another bus at 5:45 to go to Westwood. I have to buy an Easy Pass only on one day. Otherwise, you have to go to Wilshire and La Brea. We need to have a better way for that. Perhaps we could do it online so that, because you can only buy one day. You have to go to Wilshire and La Brea. What are your concerns? Any marijuana people in the Valley? You have illnesses, they especially count, but we all count. We need to reopen the Valley and get your 182 places open. Fight it in Van Nuys. It's a lot easier. Why go downtown? Anyone in the Valley, why go downtown with no parking and traffic tie-up and parking problems? Yeah, I said that. Let's reopen the Valley. Those who take the bus in downtown City Hall, why not make them open Van Nuys? Buses run badly here. We need to tell them in Van Nuys. In Van Nuys, City Council in the Valley will have many that will tell you it's not reasonable accommodations. Reopen Van Nuys, reopen Van Nuys, reopen Van Nuys.
Thank you. Marion Fogler, followed by Sharon Brewer.
Buying of passes at La Brea and Wilshire and need for Valley, if they could come to the ropes.
Marion Fogler, followed by Sharon Brewer.
Okay, here we go. We're going to have to get this place reopened. We need access here for the disabled. This is not right. You had this place open here for the disabled and for people who are sick. It's not right to shut it down. You can find money for businesses. You can find money for car dealerships, for the film industry, the radio industry, to give them exemption for their businesses. And I'm calling on them. I'm calling on Keys. I'm calling on Hamer Toyota to put the pressure on you to reopen Van Nuys City Hall. I get down at Keys. I asked them all to come down here and reopen this place. We need this reopen here. The Valley is a central part of downtown L.A., and you people cut off the branch here that feeds you. You bite the hand that feeds you. How can you be ashamed of you to do such a thing when you got people who are disabled have no access to exercise their First Amendment rights? So you people are in violation, and I have to get it enforced. I have to go to the federal government and get the law enforced under the American Disability Act. The form is on the ADA.gov. Fill it out, type 2. Be sure to fill out black ink with your, just write down need access for disabled people and sick people. Okay, folks? We need this place reopened. This is our government. It's not theirs. They think they own it. Okay? It's time that we stand up and tell the marijuana people need not to throw the white flag and give up. They need to keep fighting. Come down here to Van Nuys City Hall, get it open. You guys have a voice. You can do something about it. Okay? Fight it. Don't let them get away with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fogler. Sharon Brewer.
Hi, Sharon Brewer, public comment. On June 27, 2012, on a Wednesday, I reported remotely from Van Nuys City Hall, our last week, to CD3 that the car wash at the corner of Reseda and Bessemer East Side had a large broken window and a lot of graffiti on it. As of this morning, August 3rd, 2012, nothing has changed. Glass still on the ground, except now there is a foreclosure for sale notice on door, but without a date or who posted it. I would appreciate it if CD3 would immediately look into this matter that's been there for over a month, or do I need to go and actually send an email? Regarding 2012 Neighborhood Council 2011-2012 election encumbered funds reported in the CAO report attachment 6, I am concerned that the following neighborhood councils have encumbered, and it's Can Do $29,000 out of $40,500 with possibly only 9 seats up for election. Sherman Oaks, 4 seats up for election, $18,000. Empower Congress Central, 15 seats, $18,000. Hollywood United, $23,000 for 8 seats. Again, from their $40,500. Why do these neighborhood councils have so much money left over from their budget? Regarding the 2012 NC election, regions 2, 4, and 3, all of these regions are accepting candidate applications, except none of these neighborhood councils have their bylaws on the webpage. A lot of these neighborhood councils have areas or districts, and unless you're an insider and you've been on the board, you don't know what these are, so it's making it hard for candidates to actually know what they can take and apply for. And again, welcome to Van Nuys City Hall. See you in 2 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brewer. Okay, now we're going to deal with one item, and then we'll go back to general public comment. Mr. Englander, are you ready to take up item number 10?
Yes, do we have any cards?
Yes, I do have cards. So on item 10, if I could get Estelle Goldman, Paul Dumont, Marion Fogler, Donna Pearman.
Good day. My name is Estelle Goldman, and it is a pleasure to be before you regarding the Woodley Hill residents to become part of Northridge. We are a community of approximately 400 homes that works well together, and we look out for each other. We do not share the same issues of North Hills. We are an R1 area with 1 private school and 1 church. There are no businesses in our area. Northridge more closely represents our community interests and the socioeconomic background of our area. The residents identify with Northridge as we are directly adjacent to Northridge. The residents of this small area do not send their children to the North Hills schools. They do not patronize the businesses of North Hills. They shop mostly North Hills, Granada Hills, and Chatsworth. There is no money involved for the city to make new signs. All they have to do is move the existing signs on Lassen and on Plummer to the west and east side of Woodley Avenue. This is approximately 1/2 mile. And this has nothing to do with the neighborhood councils. This is merely a community name change. Thank you.
No, thank you. Paul Dumont, followed by Marion Fogler and Donna Pearman.
Good morning,
yes, sir.
Paul Dumont. I'm the Vice President of North Hills West Neighborhood Council and the Chair of the Land Use Committee. I'm here representing the Neighborhood Council and the stakeholders who provided input at several meetings that we had, publicly noticed meetings. Prior to those meetings, myself and some fellow board members walked around and handed out these flyers in English and Spanish in the affected area. We also conducted some media outreach and put it up on our website. Without exception, everyone that attended our public hearings was opposed to the name change. And our neighborhood council filed a community impact statement reflecting the opposition of the stakeholders in the area. We didn't just go inside the boundaries of the proposed name change area, we also went to the adjacent properties in the neighborhood. The reasons that the neighborhood council opposed this and the stakeholders that participated in the meetings are as follows. Any lasting effect on property values would be minimal and insignificant. Issues on Woodley Hill are substantially similar to issues facing North Hills. Woodley Hill is a desirable area similar to the rest of western North Hills. A name change would make Woodley Hill a less desirable part of Northridge. Confusion would result. Is it Sepulveda, North Hills, Woodley Hill, Northridge? North Hills changed from Sepulveda to distinguish from east of the 405 several years ago. Many stakeholders would then want to extend Northridge to the 405 freeway. A change would divide a community of interest presently sharing common goals. Newly formed Senate and Assembly district boundaries follow the present boundaries. Mission Hills Panorama City North Hills Community Plan follows the present borders. Carving out Woodley Hill would not be in the best interest of our communities. The proposed name change does not duplicate any other community or neighborhood. Residents and property owners have been appropriately identified, and there are significant objections indicating the proposed name change would be bad planning. At these meetings, we had the benefit of a Los Angeles County planner.
Finish your sentence. I'll let him finish his sentence, but I mean sentence.
Yeah. At the July 24th Education and Neighborhoods Committee hearing, Councilmember Englander stated that our neighborhood council told Councilmember Parks that our neighborhood council was no longer opposed to this, and that in fact is not true. Our neighborhood council is.
Thank you. Thank you. Marion Fogler, Donna Pearman.
I was a native of Northridge at one point, but I don't know why you need to pull this in. If you got people who are petitioning to oppose this, I mean, I don't speak on things that I support because it takes up money from the city council, who complains about no money when they give it away. But anyway, these people should have a say where they're living. Of course, there is a benefit. Of course, it increases the property values. So I don't know that Northridge is more valuable than North Hills. But here and there, it's up to them what they want to do. So you should people have a community meeting and let these people decide before you vote on this matter. I think it should be a democratic vote by the community that's impacted. So I don't know why you people don't have an open meeting government here anymore. I mean, you should. These people should have an input. And I don't know what happened to Councilman Rosendahl. I'm going to have to find out because he hasn't been here.
Mr. Wesson, she's not addressing this topic.
And she was doing so well. You were doing so well. So if you could get back on the topic.
Well, I'm worried about the fine councilman here. Can I speak, please? I know people that live in the community there, and I'm sure that they are going to want to have a say about what happens in their community. So let them have a community meeting and let them have a voice on it and decide what they want. Let them decide their fate. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Donna? Donna Pearman, no, the mic is yours.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one to be going back to committee, because we really need to find out what basically most of the people over there want to have, whether they want to be called Woodley Park or whatever this thing is, or Northridge, and take it away from North Hills. We need to find out what most of the people want it, because I think that a few people have decided and you're ramming it through. It's just like Lake Balboa. I was there when Lake Balboa changed its name, and the whole neighborhood went in and signed it, what name they wanted it and everything. So we need to do this over here at Northridge, North Hills. And it's hard to see what area this Northridge, North Hills is at. I don't know if it's near the VA hospital. I hope it's not Northridge Veterans Hospital. It was bad enough we changed it to North Hills. It was Sepulveda VA. And now I better not be Northridge.
You hold our time real quick. Donna, I just want to make sure that you want to have Miriam beside you, because this is your 2 minutes. But if you want to share the frame with her, I will allow you to share the frame.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm always
Go right
happy to
ahead.
share it with Miriam. Yeah, so yeah, she's my best friend. I'm always happy to have her there. And yeah, so we need to basically, so let's send it back to committee and really study this matter fully, because I'm wondering whether Northridge is gobbling up all the places that don't belong to them. So, but if people wanted to go to Northridge, then go power to them. If people don't want it, let's not change it. So let's send it to committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Englander, that ends public comment on item 10.
Great, thank you. Just a couple notes on this, colleagues. I want to thank those who both supported and are opposed to this, quite frankly. One of the most difficult things and one of the most rewarding things we have in the city of Los Angeles that's unique is the ability to name and join communities. And because you recognize with your local community, you identify, you have pride in your local community. In fact, I recently went to speak to a 4th grade class, and I asked the students, what city do you live in? Does anybody know? And all the hands went up. And I started calling on them. They said Northridge, Chatsworth, Granada Hills, Porter Ranch. And I said, does anybody here live in Los Angeles? And not one hand went up. They had no idea. And so I explained, well, when you call 911, which police department shows up? And they knew the answer, Los Angeles Police Department. So I explained that we're all in this together, that you identify with your community, but we're all part of the great city of Los Angeles, but we're so big that that's important, and it's unique that we have this special ability where folks go door to door and they sign petitions. This has been pending for a year, and we're finally getting it through. We have one neighborhood council who's unanimously in support of it, and another neighborhood council who had a split vote, where there were many in favor and some against. But at the end of the day, overall, most of the people that I've spoken to, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls and a lot of community folks that have contacted me throughout this process, are overwhelmingly in support of this change. And so I welcome it. I ask for your aye vote in this, and I applaud all those who are passionate about naming their community and getting involved to make our community a better place. So thank you.
Okay, no more speakers on the queue. Yes, Mr. Alarcon, I didn't see your name. I'm sorry.
Mr. Englander, they're really only changing half the name, right? So it's going from Ridge to Hills.
That's right. It's a half a name change.
Or
It's actually
Hills to Ridge.
It's not even a name change. It's part of a community joining another part of an existing community. North Hills will still be there as well. It's some boundary adjustments, just because they feel a different sense of community and identify as they articulate. They were so articulate in explaining. But yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So I just want to say that as the former chair of the committee that oversaw the name changes, I think the driving force should be the people that live in the area that wants to change their name. Not, with all due respect to neighborhood councils, not people that don't live in that area. And frankly, the North Hills that is on my side of the 405 freeway may or may not support it, but frankly, I think that there is a commonality of that area and the Northridge community that can't be denied. And so if those residents want it, I don't think we should deny them.
Thank you, Mr. Alarcon. With that said, Madam Clerk, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the vote. Open the roll, I mean. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, before we go back to general public comment, Mr. Zine, you have a special visitor. Could you introduce your guest to the members that are here and our visitors from that are in the gallery?
Well, this young lady
is gorgeous.
Look how tall you are. This is Jasmine, who her mom's over here, Corinne, and they live in my district. And her mom brought her down to see the city council in action. She's out of school right now, and she's very, very smart, and she speaks French. Can you say something to the audience today?
In the mic.
Bonjour.
And you know, you were talking to me about different things in politics. Tell me a little bit about politics. That's what you're here for, is politics. Remember we talked about the president, President Herb Wesson? Remember we talked about him? And the city council? Are you lost for words?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's your debut.
Let's give our you're the tomorrow. You're our future for tomorrow. Let's give her a round of applause.
There you go.
Candido, you're right. We got to save these. Okay, now we're going to go back to general public comment. Rick Nightingale, Renee Hersey, Glenn Bailey, Marlene Goodman. And if I could, so we could move this, guys, it would help me if you could kind of line up a little bit behind Rick. Mr. Nightingale, you're on.
Yeah, Rick Nightingale. My main thing to come down here is about addresses. How many people drive down the street and turn around and is looking for a business or a house or whatever, and you can't find an address? And you're looking, you're driving, you talk about using a text and all that other stuff, you talk about being dangerous. It's a danger to the community, it's a danger to the fire department, police department, and so forth. I realize they all know they're supposed to know the fire department and that, know the districts and all that. But when you go looking for a place and you're trying to look for an address, you can't find one. Even on a high rise, you can barely see one. I wish the council person, the people here, can order the lower echelon who's in charge. And I did talk to somebody, and I do have a card, and I'll follow up on it. But you can turn around and enforce it. You are the people. You make the laws, you enforce the laws, and do something about this, because it's ridiculous. I go to Los Angeles, I go out here in the valley, I go every place, and you cannot find an address, and it's dangerous. Regarding the thing, I tried to get on the thing about Northridge. It's a great thing that you turned around and did this, but yeah, Northridge is supposed to be an elite place. I do live in Northridge, but I'd like to have ours changed to Sherwood Forest. That's where I live. It's a little old community, but it's very nice. But the thing is that you want these people to change, just like it was Sepulveda to North Hills. I remember when it was Sepulveda. And then everybody wanted to change it, went to North Hills. Now they want to go into Northridge. I can't see it. I mean, sure, everybody, it's still all a community, but you're trying to bring it up to get your own address going. That's basically where it's all at. It's money. I mean, there's no other doubt about that. And I got one other thing. This thing about, it hasn't reached this yet, and I hope the council don't do it, about this Chicken-O-Lay thing with that Dale Kathy. I hope you people don't get involved in this thing. I pray you don't get involved in this situation regarding the gays and so forth.
Thanks, Rick. Renee Hershey. Yeah, Mr. Laban.
Yeah, just to let the last speaker know and the public know, my office, and I'll be coming to council, is working with the planning department, the building department, and the fire department and police department on issues related to numbering and including alleys. Thank you for bringing that comment. Mr. Krikorian said it's the first time he agreed with you, if I may say that. But thank you, Mr. Nightingale. Thank you for that good point.
Okay. All right, Ms. Hershey.
Good morning. This is Elephant Awareness Day. And I felt it was important to come today to praise the judgment by Judge Siegel recently regarding the treatment of our elephants at the LA Zoo. Since the recent court decision shows that the zoo has consistently and really forever harmed elephants in captivity, and if the criteria is that zoos cannot meet the physical, social, and psychological needs of elephants, and since that criteria has never been met by the LA Zoo, I appeal to you to move forward on shutting down that exhibit once and for all, and let Billy, Tina, and Jewel be retired to a sanctuary where they can be treated humanely as we are treated humanely on a day-to-day basis, because that is not the case for them. It's never been the case. Judge Siegel affirmed that in his judgment recently. And as an Angelino that dates back to the San Gabriel mission, I'm invested in how we treat all sentient beings in our community in Los Angeles. And I'd like to see us move forward and focus on the elephants. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bailey. In fact, hold tight, Mr. Bailey. On what I want to do real quick, it's my understanding that we need to reconsider item 12. So let's have a quick vote on reconsideration of item 12. It was, we need to reconsider it for an amendment. So let's open the roll, Madam Clerk, on reconsideration. Let us close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now let's actually vote on the item as amended. That item has been circulated. It is designated 12A. So with that said, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Glenn Bailey, followed by Marlene Goodman, followed by Karen Bonadillo. Please go, sir.
Good afternoon, council members. Glenn Bailey. I am speaking as the independent election administrator for Region 1 for the neighborhood councils in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. And for those people who care enough to watch city council, I hope they would care enough to vote in the neighborhood council elections, which in 12 regions starts tomorrow, August 4th. In Region 1, Northeast San Fernando Valley. There's approximately 150 candidates for the 8 neighborhood councils, 7 of which are having elections, starting with Mission Hills from Pacoima, at Pacoima City Hall, starting from 10 to 2 tomorrow, and then Mission Hills from 1 to 5 at the Mission Hills Police Station, and then the 1 to 7 for Sylmar and Sun Valley and Foothill Trails District, and finishing up with Sunland Tujunga from 2:30 to 8:30 at the North Valley City Hall. So people want additional information to see the list of candidates, see their candidate statements. They can go to www.empowerla.org and click on the Northeast Valley election and then the individual neighborhood council of their particular choice. The 2 neighborhood councils that require documentation are Panorama City and Sunland Tujunga. That means persons would need to show some sort of proof that they're a stakeholder, either live, own, work, or otherwise have a factual basis for that particular neighborhood council. The other neighborhood councils are self-affirmation. So for a list of all the locations, the candidates, etc., people can just go to empowerla.org or call the election hotline at 818-293-VOTE, 8683, which is here at Van Nuys City Hall on the 4th floor. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. Okay, Miss Goodman. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me speak. What a shock. Judge Siegel agrees that all is not well at the Los Angeles Zoo. What have I been telling you for the last 20 years, that all is not well at the Los Angeles Zoo? It is urgent that the City Council shut down the elephant exhibit at the Los Angeles Zoo. More than 20 years have passed, and many elephants have died there at the Los Angeles Zoo. The evidence is in. The Los Angeles Zoo is not a happy place, as Judge Siegel stated. It is time to shut down the elephant exhibit and turn these acreage over to the other improperly animals treated there. I'd like to take you on a tour. I'd like you to go and see the jaguar exhibit, where animals pace up, and this one animal paces up and down and back and forth for 20 years. That's how long I've been going there. Also the lions. 2 old lions in this round concrete exhibit with Disney animals painted on the back. Go on your computers, go on to Google, and see how elephants live in the wild. And then go to the Los Angeles Zoo and look at that and see what's happening and do your jobs and shut that elephant exhibit down.
Thank you. Karen? Jack Carone or Carone, Brian Manel. Okay, welcome.
Good morning. Yeah. Judge Siegel wrote in his comments after his rulings in the trial against the LA Zoo, contrary to what the zoo's representatives may have told the Los Angeles City Council, in order to get construction of the $42 million elephant exhibit approved and funded, the elephants are not happy, healthy, or thriving. He went on to say the elephants' lives are empty, purposeless, boring, and painful. I was shocked as I sat in the courtroom during that 6-day trial. Of the $42 million voted on by City Council, only 2.2 of the 6 acres are used by the elephants. Pretty expensive real estate for 2 acres of space for 3 elephants in 4 separate pens. It sounds like your vote to build the exhibit was a vote to install 4 acres of electric fencing and hot grass so the elephants won't tread on the landscaping. Then there's the 1,545 missing elephant records, not including the countless records where somebody had taken a black magic marker pen and actually just wiped it out. What was the final blow for me was when Director John Lewis admitted on the witness stand that a document he signed and sent to City Council before your vote had the health status of an elephant changed. City Council was not only misled, you were lied to. Can you really trust that the elephants and their welfare can ever happen at the LA Zoo? They can't get it right. Be leaders and take a stand. I'm just begging you. I'm pleading you. Close the elephant exhibit before any more elephants die at the LA Zoo. And I have one more thing to say, is that my very dear friend, Councilman Dennis Zine, is going to be 65 tomorrow. And I just wanted to say that...
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Dennis is going to be 165. Yes, sir.
Good morning, council members. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Jack Carone. I'm the Communications Director for In Defense of Animals, and I'm a resident of Canoga Park. I'm also here to observe Elephant Awareness Day. And I only wish that the kind of awareness we were talking about was an awareness of the magnificence of elephants and of their society. But unfortunately for most of us, it's an awareness of the severe problems that elephants face in the wild and in captivity. There's not much that LA City can do for animals in the wild, but we do have an opportunity to help elephants in captivity. We're impacted basically in 2 ways by those elephants. One comes from the outside and one is on the inside. From the outside, it takes the shape of traveling circuses who truck in severely abused animals, notably elephants, for the sole purpose of harvesting millions of dollars from people who live in Los Angeles. That's reprehensible, and that should not be allowed. To me, though, the problem inside is disturbing on another level, and that is that we are the captors in this case. We are the ones harming the elephants and letting them down. As was referenced early, the result of a 5-year trial showed that the elephants at the LA Zoo are not happy, healthy, or thriving, and it also uncovered a great deal of incompetence and dishonesty from the zoo. At a time when the world is waking up to the inherent cruelty of keeping these large animals in captivity, I just think that Los Angeles, one of the greatest and most famous cities in the world, can't tolerate it. Awareness is very essential, but without action, it's just a word. Thank you.
No, thank you, Mr. Carone. Brian Monell. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, esteemed council members, for recognizing Elephant Awareness Day. I used to work elephants in the circus. I was a trainer. This is a bull hook. This is a standard tool. This is what's also used at the LA Zoo. Trust me, you can do a lot of damage with this. We beat the heck out of these elephants. Anybody that tells you that elephants are not beaten at the circuses, Ringling or Carson Barnes, whatever, is either not aware or they're lying. It happens on a routine basis. You got Ringling Brothers, right? It was just out here in Staples. I worked personally with Joe Frisco, who's the elephant trainer. We'd beat them with bull hooks, with baseball bats. They're shocked with cattle prods and the gentles and all over. I think working in this world-class city is a privilege. Beating up elephants and other exotic animals is not. I would ask you please, invite circuses and performers into this city, and performers that don't abuse animals. I would be the first person extolling the virtues of Ringling if they didn't have their animals, or these other circuses. Get kind of emotional because when you've seen animals chained up, beaten down, when you've been told that you need to go up and beat up elephants just so they'll know that you're the boss. These are the people we're dealing with. Please don't let people like Ringling come into the city who beat up and abuse animals. It's not in our value. It's not, it's not in our. It shouldn't be our value system. I think we are. I'm sorry about this. I think we are complicit in their suffering. Once you become aware of the suffering, I think then you need to make a decision. Are you going to allow this abuse to come into our city, or are we going to make a stand and say no? Take your business elsewhere. You're welcome to do business in our city, but you're not welcome to beat the animals, whether they're tigers, elephants, camels, whatever. So I appreciate your time, and that's all.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move Mr. Englander to item 11. You do have cards on this item as well. So I think it's a Donald Poppy, Tom Bronson, Glenn Bailey, and Helen Murphy. Yes.
Good morning, President Weston and council members. My name is Donnell Poppy. I'm past president of Sherwood Forest Homeowners Association, and this is Tom Branson, current president of Sherwood Forest. We're a historically significant neighborhood of about 1,200 homes in Northridge. We were one of the first named tracts in the San Fernando Valley, and we would all like to thank Councilman Englander for his help in our name change. Most of the people that are on the board of Sherwood Forest Homeowners Association are also on the board of Northridge South Neighborhood Council. And I'd like to say that you can have a really active homeowners association and a neighborhood council working hand in hand. And our election for Northridge South Neighborhood Council is coming up shortly, and I'd like to have everybody take a look at the website. Thank you, and thank you, Councilman Englander.
Thank you, Mr. Bronson.
And I just wanted to say on behalf of the Sherwood Forest Homeowners Association, we'd like to thank Councilman Englander for his support in hopefully getting this name changed through. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to mention that Helen Murphy is here in support, indicated that she did not need to speak, but she is here. Would you wave? Helen, where are you? There she is in the back. So she is here. Glenn, where are you? Okay, another wave. What about you? At least tell us who you are. You look familiar to me.
Hi, I'm Jan Scott. I am the treasurer of Sherwood Forest Homeowners Association, and I'm also the treasurer of Northridge South Neighborhood Council.
All right. Richard, why are you looking at me? Yes, Mr. Englander.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for coming here and all the work you've done. Years and years and years we've been talking about this day, and I'm so proud. This community is very deserving of becoming its own community of Sherwood Forest, and one of the most active homeowners associations, the Sherwood Forest Homeowners Association, has been incredibly helpful in partnering with so many activities and issues in the community for so many years. This is a great day for LA and for the community and for the San Fernando Valley. So we just had part of one area join Northridge and another one leaving, but we don't move. We're not moving any real estate. We're just moving some identity. And this is an identity that I think everybody living there has always referred to themselves as Sherwood Forest. And now we can officially make this marriage happen. And so I want to thank you again for all of your effort. You've been doing a lot of work for a lot of years, and we'll continue that with great success. So I appreciate it, and congratulations. Which in just a moment, hopefully, we'll have a unanimous vote on this. And Mr. LaBonge is getting ready to speak and say something really nice.
No, he's not. Not yet, because there's someone ahead of him in the queue, so he's going to remain silent. And before I call on Mr. Garcetti, and since we're talking name changes, Mr. Englander, I'm going to change my name to Robin Hood. And then I'm going to move to Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, President Hood.
Richard said I'm Herb from the Hood.
Yeah, I don't know if you want Hood as the end of your name, but just a quick story. I grew up in the Valley, was born here, lived on Woodley Avenue for 17 years of my life, and I remember first hearing about Sherwood Forest. And at the time, as a Robin Hood fan, I insisted to my parents I wanted to go there and I wanted to see it. And so finally, I think I must have been 5 or 6 years old. My dad drove me to Sherwood Forest, and I kept looking for Robin Hood. I kept looking for the trees. I kept looking for the archers. And while I didn't find those, I found a very beautiful neighborhood and have a lot of friends who live there now. It is a gorgeous, hidden neighborhood. Los Angeles is this. We have 93 official neighborhoods by neighborhood council, but of course, we have probably about 300 sub-neighborhoods, and they each have an incredible identity. And I think Sherwood Forest has been one of these hidden gems. To be able to have this be official, we've known what it is, we've known where it is, but to have this is a really great day. So congratulations, Mr. Englander. Glad to finally know you're there. And you can have the council president go there anytime and make sure that he has a place to run wild. He won't be stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, but he'll...
Well, I'm going to make
social justice.
Councilman Zine Littlejohn.
Good.
Okay?
Excellent.
Mr. Labange.
With Mitch's great efforts today, I wanted to compliment Eric Taylor and Zaki Mustafa and all the team at the sign shop and Piper Tech. Our city has the best community signs with the Great Seal of Los Angeles and the large 12 by 18 or whatever the number of words are, names of neighborhoods. And as you mentioned about where people live, Mitch, they all starts with Los Angeles, but they love their neighborhood name. So good job. And anybody know who Dick Turpin was? He was a counterpart. He was a counterpart to Sherwood Forest's buddy there, Robin Hood. If you meet an Englishman, tell him you know Dick Turpin, they'll run from you.
Okay, next, the Sheriff of Nottingham, Richard Alarcon. Now, who was the guy that sung? Will Scarlett?
No, I have no idea. Does he hang out with Turpin?
Mr. Alarcon.
No, I was I forgot what I was going to ask. You messed me up. Boy, I had a really good question, too. Mr. Labange, you messed me up with that Turpin guy. I can't remember what it was, so I'll ask Mr. Englander on the side when I remember.
Yeah, Mr. Englander, help the sheriff. Okay, no more speakers in the queue. Let's open the roll, Madam Clerk. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Congratulations.
2 items forthwith, please.
Okay, items 10 and 11 forthwith. Okay, now we will conclude our general public comment. I appreciate you guys waiting so patiently. We'll start with Elizabeth Jacobelli, Catherine Doyle, and Matt Russell, or Roussel. Yes, welcome.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Jacobelli. I'm from San Diego. I am very happy to be in Los Angeles today with all of you. I'm here because of Elephant Awareness Day. I've become a real advocate for animals. And what I'm asking you is, they say Los Angeles is the finest city, and I believe that because you are always ahead of San Diego in everything. So what I'm asking is if you please, pretty please, I ask, to put a ban on wild animals in circuses in Los Angeles. Please help these elephants that are in captivities and in circuses and in traveling and other wild animals, I beg of you. And if you do that, I promise you San Diego will follow you because they're a follower of you. And I pray to God every night that his creatures will be free in the wild and not be in pain and suffering for the use of people that want to just make money off of them. And I thank you all for your time today.
No, we thank you for taking your time to, drive 2.5 hours to come see us. So thank you for coming. Catherine Doyle and Matt.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Doyle, and I'm the Elephant Campaign Director for In Defense of Animals, but I'm also a longtime Los Angeles resident, and I reside in Councilmember Kretz's district. And as we've seen over the years, the care and treatment of elephants is an enormously important issue to the people of Los Angeles, whether it concerns the elephants confined at the LA Zoo or those in traveling circuses. So In Defense of Animals is very pleased that the Council established today as Elephant Awareness Day, and we thank Councilmember Cardenas for his leadership on that. Elephant Awareness Day also reminds us that awareness begins at home. There are two important ways that the Council can take action for elephants suffering in our city. The first is an ordinance that would protect elephants and other wild animals in traveling circuses by banning them from coming to LA. Elephants are chained and intensively confined, and they endure grueling travel and brutal training, all for the sake of entertainment. This includes the endangered Asian elephant, who's reduced to a silly spectacle at the same time that their numbers are dwindling in the wild. The other way Council can help elephants is by taking action to end the elephant program at the LA Zoo and send Billy, Tina, and Jewel to a spacious natural habitat sanctuary. As you've heard, a recent legal decision harshly criticized the care and management of the elephants at the zoo and showed just how woefully inadequate the exhibit is for them. The judge suggested that the Council was misled into voting to construct the $42 million exhibit that we now know has not improved their health or well-being. In fact, he described them as hardly thriving. The decision is a black eye on the zoo and on the city. But the main issue is whether it's the elephants at the zoo or in circuses. It raises the issue of whether or not we put the recreational needs of humans before the physical, emotional, and even survival needs of elephants. Los Angeles prides itself as being a humane city, but it will not be truly humane until we put elephants first by ending the outdated confinement of elephants at the LA Zoo and banning the use of elephants and other wild animals in archaic circuses. Then we will truly be aware. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I could have Matt, followed by Michael Carrion, followed by Juliet West.
President Weston and members of the Council, my name is Matt Roselle. I'm the Campaigns Director for Animal Defenders International, and President Weston, I'm in your district. And here with me is Shri Shankar, citizen activist for animals. And people everywhere love elephants. But all that love has not translated into preventing this uniquely majestic species from being imperiled in the wild and from suffering greatly in captivity. Only by really understanding another species can we hope to channel the love into empathy required to respect and protect them. That's why we need Elephant Awareness Day. And it goes beyond just elephants, because learning about the plight of elephants in the wild, we expose an underlying international crisis of biodiversity loss of other flora and fauna. And by understanding how elephants suffer in captivity, we pull back the curtain to other abuses of people and animals that our society needs to address. For many reasons, elephants have captured our imaginations, including myself. For me, working undercover at Walker Brothers Circus and seeing them living on chains and abused firsthand makes me want to protect them even more. Animal Defenders International want to thank the Los Angeles City Council for taking the time out of their busy city agenda to dedicate a day for elephants. Activities online and around the community today and through the weekend are scheduled to celebrate the magnificence of elephants and to educate about their plight. We applaud the leadership of Councilman Tony Cardenas and Paul Koretz and all the other members of the Los Angeles City Council for their ongoing dedication to animal protection and for making this day a reality. We're reaching out to you today to work together to protect wild animals when the traveling circus comes to Los Angeles. We've been meeting with your offices, and we'd like to continue to do that to further protect these animals, especially traveling circuses, because that is the most egregious abuses of captive animals.
Thank you, Matt. Michael, followed by Juliet West.
On Tuesday, Mr. Reyes implied that I was a liar. He said this property was already cleaned. I told him I was going to take pictures. Here's the pictures. Later on that afternoon, Cleaning Green or LA City Corp, LA Corp went out to clean it. Yet Mr. Reyes made it clear that there were syringes there. Does anybody see hazmat here? By law, you're not supposed to clean it. You're supposed to send hazmat out there. A city councilman is aware of a hazardous environment, and he sends LA Corps out there. Shame on you. These people were not equipped to pick up syringes, like Mr. Reyes stated that were there. I never stated the syringes were there. I just asked that they cleaned it. Okay, but they didn't. Yet Mr. Reyes knew of the syringes and chose not to have hazmat go out and clean it up. That's in violation of the law. But yet, Mr. Reyes stood there and said it was done. How can these pictures don't lie. I told you I was going to take them. Mr. Reyes said these properties were already cleaned. They don't look cleaned. Yet they tell us...
Michael, address the council.
They tell the taxpayers you got to clean your property or your property goes in REAP. City-owned property that Mr. Reyes knew was done there, didn't clean it. Shame on him. Mr. Weezer's office couldn't get this done in over a month and a half. I got it done in 2 days. And his office called me to take credit for it. Oh, we did it. We did it. The same thing in my district.
Address us.
I am. So what I'm asking is Mr. Reyes called me a liar. I demand an apology from him. I got the proof that he's the liar.
Well, I was here. I don't remember, Michael, I don't remember the word liar. And it would seem to me that you made a request to have some things done, and they're done. Michael, there's no back and forth. We're on my dime now. I didn't say anything when you were talking. So, I mean, Michael, say one more thing. You know the rules, and you usually adhere to them. But the reality of the situation is, I'll tell you, in my district, I go out with my staff, and we'll clean up anything. Okay? I don't care. Call the police on me. I don't care if they're needles. I get it all. I do what I can. I think if these guys are doing their jobs, that you should appreciate it. You're one of those darned if you do, darned if you don't type of a fella. Mr. Reyes, and I just had to speak out on behalf of the members. Mr. Reyes has, in fact, and maybe you should just let me say it, Mr. Reyes has a very active abatement program going on in his district. He has photographs in his hand right now showing the various lots that are being cleaned and the new areas that they're going out to clean. So people, I think, Ed, recognize that when they contact your office that you do the best that you can to respond. So with that said, that there's no more items. Oh, I think we have Juliet West. I almost forgot you. And Jasmine, I'm told you want to try to speak. That's what I'm told. Juliet West.
Hello. Today on Elephant Awareness Day, I thank you, City Council, for your time and your efforts to make this day possible. I've told you before how much this day means to me, my fellow advocates, and to the lives of the captive elephants that reside in Los Angeles. While awareness is being spread more and more about the abuse elephants living in captivity endure, there is still more City Council can do for the elephants. Billy, Tina, and Jewel are still living in the LA Zoo in an environment that is not adequate for their basic needs. They all suffer from too small of a habitat, inadequate structural conditions, and a total lack of mental stimulation. They deserve to be sent to a sanctuary. The City of Los Angeles, its citizens, and our city government are forward-thinking and stand up for our rights and well-being for our society and image. Showcasing the Earth's largest land mammal in a cage does not help that image. We are sending a message to kids in Los Angeles that it is okay to keep an animal in an inhumane situation just because we have the power to do so. Another thing City Council could do for the elephants that come through Los Angeles as performers is ban the use of bullhooks in the city of LA. Bullhooks are abusive tools used by trainers to break their elephant spirits in order to sustain obedience. The elephant is hit with the bullhook daily as part of their training to do unnatural tricks. I hope you can continue to understand the importance of treating the animals in our care the way that they deserve to be treated. I will continue to be a voice for the elephants until their needs are fulfilled. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jasmine, are you going to come up and say something?
Hello, my name is Jasmine, and I like the circus, but I feel bad for the elephants because the elephants are not being treated the way that they should be treated, and I think that they should be treated very well in the wild, and I really think they should be in the wild. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Okay. Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, I think we have a cleanup item, or Mr. Zine?
President, I just wanted to add regarding cleanup item, that's appropriate, that we put money in for Clean and Green in my district, in Council District 3, so if there are weeds or other issues that concern the community, we inform them to please call the office, 818-756-8848. We do have the youth that we're employing through the summer months with Clean and Green, and we can attend those matters promptly. In fact, driving down this morning on Victory Boulevard, they were out there cleaning up the weeds along Victory near the Reseda Pool. So if there are areas in CD3, you're welcome to call. We'll get those done quickly as possible. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I know there's been some public comment about Clean and Green. They do a fabulous job. They do it quickly, and it's a great program. And I just want to make sure when the budget cycle comes around, we remember these comments because they do a fabulous job out there to clean up weeds and clean up our neighborhoods. Thank you.
No, they do an excellent job. Okay, with that said, Madam Clerk, I believe we have to reconsider an item from Wednesday.
Yes, Mr. President. Request to reconsider item 28, Council File 12-0002-S48 from Wednesday, August 1st. Reconsider to continue it to August 28th.
Okay, so then let's vote on the reconsideration. Mr. City Attorney?
Mr. President, the item is a resolution corrects Garcetti relative to the city's position on legislative and administrative action, which would stop the proposed expansion onto federal public lands of the Coal Hollow Strip Mine in Alton, Utah.
Okay, so let's first vote on reconsideration. Let's, Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, so that item has been continued. Oh, no, or do we need to vote on? We don't have to continue it, so without objection, we will continue it to the date that the clerk stated.
August 28th.
August 28th. Announcements? Okay, let's go to adjourning motions then. If I can get everybody in the council chambers to please rise. Everyone, please stand up. In the back, ladies, we're going to adjourn. Mr. Englander.
Jerome Pulaski. Gene was a graduate of college in 1965, medical college. He interned at LA County Hospital. He did his residency, which was ophthalmology, 1966 to 1971, and was a member of the Alpha Omega Alpha Medical Honor Society. He served in the Army from 1967 to 1969 and spent 1 year in the 95th Evacuation Hospital in Vietnam. He was an ophthalmologist with Kaiser Permanente from 1971 to 2002, and he served as Chief of Service from 1981 to 2002. He was an Associate Clinical Professor at the Jules Dye Eye Clinic Institute. He studied neuro-ophthalmology at the National Hospital St. Thomas in London from 1983 to 1988. He's survived by his loving wife, Patricia, of 46 years, their loving cats, Emma and Charlie. Services will be held in Milwaukee. Thank you.
Other adjourning motions. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, with sadness, I'd like to ask that the Council adjourn in memory of William Fitzgibbon, who was a North Hollywood math and science teacher who was credited with launching some of the most successful middle school curricula in those areas in the United States. He died just this week at the age of 77. He was known by Fitz to generations of students at Walter Reed Middle School, and his sister said that he was loved by his students, and even in retirement, he inspired students who graduated from Yale, MIT, and Stanford. He made kids think they could do math and science, particularly the girls. And we know that this country continues to struggle with inspiring enough young people to go into math and science, and that there continues to be gender disparity in those areas. William Fitzgibbon was one of those people who was trying to correct those problems. In 1971, he founded the Individualized Honors Program to teach college-level math and science in middle school at Walter Reed. He also founded the nation's only known middle school with an advanced placement physics course. So he made an immense contribution to generations of students. And Mr. President, you mentioned the Olympics earlier and the stories that we hear about our Olympic heroes, and it's important that we all focus on that and draw inspiration from that. But the truth is, 4 years from now or 8 years from now, very few of us will remember who won the gold medal in high jump or balance beam or shot put. But every one of us in this room, everyone in this country, for the rest of our lives will remember teachers who made an impact in our lives and who helped make us the people that we are today. William Fitzgibbon was one of those people, and he's survived by his wife Deborah of Brentwood, his son Keir and daughter Sorrel, 7 grandchildren, a brother, and 3 sisters. I ask that we adjourn in his memory. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Mr. Koretz?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask the Council to adjourn in memory of Mrs. Sonia Bogan. Sonia Bogan and her husband Max, who passed away in 2006, were Holocaust survivors who arrived at Ellis Island on Labor Day 1949, along with her young daughter Betsy and Sonia's parents Clara and Isaac Berg and her brother Sam. After living in Philadelphia for a few years, the family moved to L.A. and remained here for over 61 years. Sonia was a proud 40-year member of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 770, and Max was a proud longtime member of IBEW Local 1070. Sonia and her husband Max dedicated their lives to enhancing and strengthening the Los Angeles Jewish community, including being founding members of synagogue congregation Beth Israel on Beverly Boulevard. Sonia Bogan was born in Rovna, Ukraine, and Max was born in Koretz, Poland. Sonia had a profound and endearing gift of bringing people and community together. Sonia personally and lovingly cared for her husband Max as he suffered for Alzheimer's disease in the later years of his life. Sonia was a very kind, compassionate, loving, humble, and giving person who was extremely devoted to her family, friends, and community. She's survived by her daughters Judy Bogan and Evelyn Steinberg, and granddaughters Carrie and Mindy Steinberg. Their oldest daughter Betty predeceased them in 1999 after dedicating over 35 years of her life as an administrator with the Veterans Administration and a senior officer in the United States Army.
Other adjourning motions, Mr. Labange.
50 years ago, Marilyn Monroe died. I remember coming home from Mass, and my mother pulled over to the car. We all said prayers for her. She did go to Van Nuys High School, ironically, and she also lived at Holly Grove in Doris Place Elementary, as well as Holly Grove on Vine Street. So we all remember Marilyn Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Okay, members, this council meeting is adjourned.
You're watching LA City View, Channel 35.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.
These types of situations before reporting on the outcome. In Granada Hills, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Media Training Day took place at the Ed Davis Training Facility in Granada Hills. A family is grieving the loss of their father who was murdered in his workplace. Cindy San Luis explains how the city is helping authorities find the suspect.
I just want justice, that's it, and to please help and not be afraid to call.
Malicio Lopez and his 4 siblings and mother are asking the public for help in finding his father's murderer. Raul Lopez was killed on June 29th at the Hoagies and Wings restaurant in Sherman Oaks, where he worked as a cook.
He was shot following a verbal dispute with numerous patrons inside the restaurant. And we're looking for 5 males of African-American descent driving a black Cadillac Escalade.
Raul Lopez should be here today. He should be holding these children. He should be part of their lives, but it was taken away by someone who we could now prosecute and bring to justice.
The Los Angeles City Council has put up a $50,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the suspect who shot and killed Raul Lopez. The gunman was described as African American and in his late 20s or early 30s, with a skinny build and short hair, about 5 feet 6 inches to 6 feet tall. It's hoped someone out there knows this man.
I don't need to know your name or where you are or who you are. I just need a phone call to point us in the right direction.
Lopez's family members and Hoagies and Wings have set up a memorial fund for the slain father of 5. The restaurant said it will provide donation boxes at the Sherman Oaks and La Cienega Boulevard locations. The restaurant will also be donating 10% of all online orders from the month of July from its Sherman Oaks location to Lopez's family. For LA This Week, I'm Cindy San Luis.
If you have any information that can help authorities, you're urged to call LAPD Van Nuys homicide detectives at 818-374-9500 or 877-LAPD 24/7. And an update on a story we've been reporting on, the city's efforts to stop car dealerships from leaving town. Anita Bennett tells us about a plan city leaders say is good for business and good for the city.
As workers at this new Kia dealership downtown repair cars, Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa joins them to sign a new city ordinance into law.
We're here today to say that downtown Auto Row is back. In fact, the number of dealerships on Auto Row has more than doubled over the last 7 years.
The increase follows a series of steps by LA leaders to lure auto lots away from the suburbs, and that includes the newly signed ordinance that exempts new car dealerships from LA's gross receipts business tax.